Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111911. Now, I haven't talked about it too much because it didn't look like it was going to come true. But I can see a world where it can come true. And that is my preseason pick for the Super Bowl was the Texans and the Lions. Texans failed miserably during the regular season. Looked good. Do you think the Texans, the game they played against the Chargers, granted, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is going to throw 4 interceptions. But sometimes he throws. He could be prone to the interception every now and then. Do you think Patrick Mahomes? Do you think the Texans, if they get by the Chiefs, can beat the Bills? Assuming that the Bills march on. Do you think the Texans?
Oh, if they beat Baltimore this week,
yeah,
they'll play the Texans.
If who beats Baltimore this week?
Buffalo plays Baltimore this week.
Yeah, if Buffalo beats Baltimore. You think Baltimore might win that game? The way that...
No, I have Buffalo winning that game.
Okay. That's going to be a good game. You remember earlier in the season, Baltimore took Buffalo to the woodshed. I mean, it was like a blowout victory for the Baltimore. It was early on in the season. I think it was like week 3 or 4 or something like that. But they stymied Buffalo. But anyways, if it's the Texans, so this is how it breaks out. If it's the Texans, if the Texans can get past the Chiefs and the Bills win, I think the Texans will go to the Super Bowl. If the Ravens win and the Texans get past the Chiefs, I think the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl. I think the Ravens are the best team in the playoffs right now for the AFC. The NFC, it's definitely the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. That one seems to be clear cut for me. I see Buffalo winning that game. I think all these games are really good. The game that could be great or really boring is the Kansas City-Houston game to me. That's the game that I'm not really thinking is going to be.
Well, if the Chiefs have done anything this season, that is not live up to any hype that they have produced whatsoever. All right, the Chiefs are on Sunday Night Football, and you watch a game, the final score is 16-13. You know,
exactly.
And you're like,
I'm kind of expecting something like that out of this matchup on Saturday. So 2 games Saturday. Houston at Kansas City will be your 1:30 game. The 5:00 game will be the Commanders out in Detroit to take on the Lions. And then Sunday, there's a noon and a 3:30 game. So KZOZ.com, if you want to do the Red Zone Challenge, you're all set to go there. And congratulations again to Jason Moore, AG. He picked up $50 to the poorhouse and $50 to be right there heating and air with Save My Season, went 4-2. And now this week, we'll do the picks again on Friday, and we'll cover all 4 of these games. And all you have to do, what do we have to do here? We have to get 3 out of 4 right?
Because there's 4 games.
4 games. I think you got to get 3 out of 4.
I think you got to get 3 out of 4.
I'm not going to make you go perfect, but you got to do better than 50-50. So 3 out of 4, and you'll win.
By the way,
$50.
The Bills. You're looking at single-digit temperatures on Sunday, and a mix of snow. High of 18 for the day. 18 degrees.
What about the Detroit game?
That one's inside, so it don't matter.
Oh, are they in a dome?
Remember that?
I don't know.
Remember that reporter last year?
This is the first time I paid attention to him.
Remember that reporter last year? She's like to Todd Bowles because the weather was really bad in Detroit, and Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay was playing Detroit. She said, "What's your team doing to prepare for the weather?" He looked at her. He goes, "You do realize this game? Are you related to that reporter?"
No, I do remember that, but I don't know where Detroit plays.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
Doug, who won't ride roller coasters, talking about, I guess this is in response to wildfires. He wants to know why nobody's talking about the next disaster and this is so interesting because this is immediately what I thought of, because you and I went through Santa Barbara and Montecito between the fire and the mudslides. There was like about 6 weeks where there was the fire had ended. There was 6 weeks of standstill, and then the mudslides came. And we happened to travel through there in those 6 weeks and looking at all the destruction from the wildfires and thinking at the time, wow, there's a lot of roots that were up there before that aren't up there anymore. They're going to be a problem. The thing with Palisades is, what's the mud going to slide down on? I mean, a few houses that were able to make it.
Is Doug saying that nobody's talking about the fact that there's going to be mudslides? Because that's all I've heard people talking about for the last week.
Oh, really? I've not heard of that,
because they know what happened.
I'm with Doug. Maybe you watch more news than Doug and I do.
Well, no, I mean, I just have it on, but I mean, it's what, yeah, they're like, well, that's the next thing now.
So what's their preparation on that? Have they talked about the preparation on that? I mean,
well, they're still trying to deal with like getting people homes or places to have shelter, and they're still trying to put out fires. And I mean, we're still dealing with Santa Ana winds, and so I don't think they're there yet. But it's definitely been, a discussion.
Have you heard this idea floated around? Since you're one that watches news, maybe we watch different sources, because I've not heard anything about mudslide talk. But have you heard this idea of moving the Olympics from Los Angeles because of the wildfire? Now, keep in mind, the Olympics aren't for another 3 years. It's not until 2028, and they're set for Los Angeles. But all the and it goes beyond just wildfires and the destruction caused from the wildfires. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back on this discussion. But some of the other problems that Los Angeles is under, homeless issues.
Could have been a straw. They're illegal in California.
Paper straw. Sorry. You understand?
I have not heard about this discussion about moving.
Wait, hold on a second. Before we get to the Olympics, do you know what kind of straws do you think they're talking about with the camel's back?
What, like the hay bale straws?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I was just wondering. I thought for a second there you pictured a bunch of drinking straws on a camel's back.
I just been waiting to use my.
That's a good one. It was a good one.
Some banned straws.
It was a good one
in California. But yeah, I haven't heard anything about the Olympics. Not that I care about the Olympics all that much, but the Olympics are so bastardized. They're going to do. When they bring it here, they're introducing flag football. And now other countries, are getting flag football teams together. I have heard that.
Yeah.
Flag football will be an Olympic sport. Football, the American football game from the National Football League, is really a sport that is just played, for the most part, in the United States. Nowhere else.
100%.
Everywhere else in the world, football is
the only
soccer.
sport that we have, and it's the biggest one.
And yet they're going to, this is a world event. They're going to have flag football in the Olympics.
Because you can't teach a bunch of Jamaicans. This is a real
conversation.
You can't teach a bunch of Jamaicans to get into pads and start playing football.
No, it shouldn't be a sport at all.
Aside.
This isn't a sport that the world celebrates. They took out wrestling, which literally started the Olympics. And this isn't because
wrestling's not in the Olympics anymore?
No, they took out wrestling.
What?
They took out.
You're kidding me.
No,
wrestling is not in the Olympics.
And they introduced breakdancing.
Wrestling is not in the Olympics?
That's what I remember reading, that they were taking out wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling, and they were bringing in breakdancing, which went horrible. I mean, I don't know. I didn't even watch the Olympics. It's just, the whole thing has become such a, I don't know, joke to me. It's too bad. And we have athletes saying they've too much pressure and they can't compete and they need a mental break, and literally they're going up for the gold and they're like, no, I got to go home. I can't do it. I'm stressed out. I mean, it's like, well, where did you think you were coming? What did you your whole life? It's just.
I mean, here's the thing. So they're talking about LA not being prepared from a safety standpoint and from a just an aesthetic standpoint. That's going to look.
That's a bit of a jump.
It's going to look bad for the country.
I
do think it's a bit of a jump because when it was in China. Like it was like the water was green from algae blooms, and they're like, nope, that's what you got to go swimming in. You know?
Go drink it.
Rio,
Take
people,
a 60-minute shower after you get out of the lake.
Olympiads were getting arrested left and right in Rio and thrown in jail and having to bribe the officials to get out. I don't think that will go on in Los Angeles. So I do think it's a bit of a stretch, but the talk has been maybe Dallas would be a good place to do it. According to Wikipedia, 2028, the Olympics will still have wrestling in the Olympics. And it's been going on, like you said, since the beginning, 1896.
Oh, okay. So they didn't take it out. God, I could have swore they said they were taking out Greco-Roman. Does it say Greco-Roman wrestling? Well, what other wrestling is there? I don't know.
There was only one event in the first games, though. What did they do? Just say, hey, who wants to wrestle? And the two guys raised their hand. They're like, okay, go ahead.
I don't think they called it wrestling back then. I think it was fight to the death.
Oh,
I believe it was.
Much more entertaining. Much more entertaining.
Yeah. Let's grab a call. Hi, you're on with Jeff and Jeremy. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Don.
Hey, Don.
Hi, Don.
Hi. Well, what do you think about all those fires going on and stuff? You know what I think? I think a lot of it, would have helped a lot if they would have had fire prevention.
Yeah,
If
Don,
they
I think that's
there.
been a big conversation in the news about fire prevention. And they didn't have it, and so hopefully they'll get things changed around for sure.
Yeah. And the thing that makes me, feel kind of bad and makes me kind of upset that they're gonna deny their insurance, and they've been paying fire insurance, and they're going to deny them.
Hey, that's the company's decision, the insurance company's decision, and the state of California's decision. It's a rowdy dow between those two right now, and I think the insurance companies, they kind of have the upper hand after recent events. California would be like, okay, we're not going to cap the insurance rates anymore, because it costs the insurance companies, and they're a business, and believe me, they're not like people don't like insurance for the same reason that I don't like paying for parking. Okay, it sucks. Wait, I have something, but to insure it, but you have to insure what you have. Otherwise, if you lose it, then you don't get it back. That's what the whole premise of the thing is. But if you are built right next to a fire zone in a state where the officials are supposed to do control burns, but they don't because they want to save a bush in that area, then your price of insurance is going to go up. Your premiums are going to be more expensive. They're like, oh, wait, you're next to that bush. That means they can't come in and clear the area in which it neighbors your property. We have to charge you more for insurance. That's how it works. And then you decide, okay, do I want to buy the house or do I not want to buy that house? It's called the cost of doing business. I don't understand why the state of California steps in and says, no, I do understand why. It's because it makes the politicians look good. They're like, oh, we're going to keep your insurance rates low. Well, then we're not going to do business there. Mike writes in from Santa Maria, and he says, Don has a tendency to overstate the obvious. Yes, that does happen from time to time. But
Thanks for pointing that out, Mike.
We do. And by you saying that, you have a tendency to overstate the obvious as well.
Community note moderator Daniel writes in, he says, new events, border wall jumping in the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. And don't forget,
live from Mexicali.
Looting as well. Thanks, Dan. Let's see, modern trends that people will regret in 10 years. All right. Really, face tattoos? That should have been a trend that's been going on for more than 10 years. It sounds like these are things they're like putting your whole life on the internet. Yes, I agree. People will probably, I don't know.
But your boy doesn't help out the cause. Going back to the face tattoos just for a second before we move on to putting your whole life on the internet. Okay? He also puts his whole life on the internet. Your boy doesn't help out.
My boy? Who?
Everybody says, oh yeah, that big guy, he's sensitive. He's gone through some troubles in life. I can associate with him. He's got face tattoos. I better get a face tattoo. I want to be like Jelly Roll.
And then
all of a sudden
from him would be not to get a face tattoo. Not to get a face tattoo.
Oh man, one of your DJs. We were just talking about DJs. I gotta bring this up.
Oh, okay. We have a breaking news, or is? Hold on.
There's a.
We'll hold off on the trending.
There's
just a minute.
There's a disc jockey that is not happy with us because of what we've posted on Facebook, and I don't know where this guy a disc jockey in Sacramento or something like that.
I have no idea who you're talking about, but I'll go over to the Facebook page and look at it. What's the issue?
Well, we put on there that listeners have proposed looting and border wall jumping as possible events at the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. What do you have? We want to know what are some other good events that people can come up with, and Paul Marshall. Are you familiar?
Oh, okay. Yes,
I think he works with a friend of yours.
We applied for a job with Paul Marshall at one time, and then they canceled.
They didn't have enough budget.
They canceled the radio station, and I lost his job.
He says. I said, "What do you have?" And he says, "Enough class not to joke about this. Not funny, man. Seriously."
Are you kidding me? It's a sad state that you can't even be honest with yourself about what's really happening in the world. But this is...
Yeah, hey, listen, Paul, man, the listeners brought it up. We do this for them, okay?
This doesn't matter.
I'm not doing this for you and your virtue signaling, working for George Soros at some radio station somewhere.
Well, that's the problem, that he works for...
Yeah, he's got to say that. If he doesn't come out and say that, he loses his job. Loses his job
because
immediately.
Here's the truth.
And the 7 shifts that he's on across the country.
What has seriously gone on in the last 4 years, though? People just loot all the time. There doesn't even have to be a natural disaster. People just walk into Nordstrom's, bust a counter open, grab jewelry, and walk out.
To risk
fill in the blank of the store.
To risk offending a Sacramento DJ, I'm going to take it a step further. If you've noticed what they do in these smash and grabs, is they will run into a store like a flash mob, like that one from Nordstrom's that you brought up. Like when they ran in and they were taking stuff that were attached, like they have like expensive items, they have like cables attached to the rack, and they were just like running out with the rack. You should get extra points for that. You should get.
But we can't joke about that. That's okay. Don't arrest them. Let them go.
That's quite.
It's a shame.
It's quite a skill set, to be honest with you, to get away with like 5 leather jackets and a display rack that they're attached to. Are you kidding me? Like that takes some skill, and not get caught, and not get arrested, and all those things. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I like this one. Community note moderator Daniel writes in. He says, new event, whining like a little bitch. Yes, that has become a new trend in society, hasn't it? Oh, it's not there.
That's the Sacramento games. Mike writes in on Facebook in response to Paul, the disc jockey from Sacramento. Seeing I have no class, I'm thinking the birthing competition. How many illegals can you pop out? Oh, that is no class, Mike.
See, come on, that went too far.
Don't say that. Come on now. I mean, I got to side with Paul on this one.
How pathetic can some people be?
I just got back from Vegas. There's so many bros in Vegas. Like, these guys will brag about anything. I was in Vegas and this guy's like, yo, had sex with the prostitute last night, bro. Okay, bragging that you had sex with a prostitute is like bragging that you got some chips from a vending machine.
Dumbass of the day. 93.3 KCOC.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like, you want to keep that under wraps, okay? Like, you're so undesirable that you had to pay somebody to have sex with you means that you don't go bragging about that.
Sometimes you want to keep it under wraps until you get, in there, and then the prostitute steals your wallet, your keys to your car, and your police badge. That's what happened to a cop in Virginia. His name is J-Ron Harry. And he had to call it in because things went bad quick. For being a cop and like learning I got to imagine there's some investigating type skills, right? There's some awareness on how to read people. That's got to be part of the training as a police officer.
Yeah.
But apparently when J-Ron was in the mood, all that went out the window. He had been texting with a woman on an app. She's like, send me $100 and I'll come over. So he forwards her $100 through Apple Pay. She shows up. They're like hanging out in the room, laying on the bed. She's like, hey, you want to take a shower? He's like, yeah. She's like, all right, go in there and get started. I'll be right in. He's in there, just washing up. Oh, yeah, here we go. Wait, is that my car starting? She grabbed his keys. She grabbed his badge. She grabbed his wallet.
Grab the badge. What was she going to do? Say, I'm a police officer.
Maybe the badge is in the wallet, you know. I don't know. I see some cop dramas, you know, they flip open the wallet.
That's
get
true.
The badge in there.
Yeah. Like
I'm not really sure, but
maybe she was looking for a different. I mean, like, you know, to some respect, you know, you want to steer people that are doing illegal activities that are degrading to themselves and the people that get involved in it. You know, you want to steer them towards another career, and maybe she's like, "Hey, here's my opportunity. I can be a police officer."
Well, he ran over to the neighbor's house after he got toweled off and dressed and called it in, and they found her driving around in his car with another guy. She said that was her baby's daddy.
Oh.
She goes, no, this is my baby's daddy's car. He goes, no, this is J-Ron's car. He's a police officer with Polk County Sheriff's Office.
Oh, dude.
Or Virginia Beach, sorry. Anyways, she's got a bunch of charges.
You're just used to saying Polk County.
Virginia Beach. Grand larceny, fraud, prostitution, a bunch of other like minor stuff. He got fired. He got fired because when you're a police officer, you're really not supposed to break the law.
Yeah, that's breaking the law. I mean, like, what the hell?
What did I do? I just paid her to come hang out with me for a while. We didn't do anything.
I mean, and you have. I'm sorry. Once Five Guys guy declined the OnlyFans prostitute from having sex with, you have no excuse at that point. You can't be like, oh well, no. Five Guys guy was able to decline the proposition. You should be able to decline the proposition as well.
I don't know what Officer J. Harry did when he called it in, but I don't know if I would have been like, yeah, I hired this hooker and she stole everything in my car. Can you go look for her?
Good news
for like, yeah, I guess she broke into my car and stole it. And I had my badge in there.
Good news for J-Ron is that that's a very good question. Did he get charged with solicitation?
It doesn't say. It just says he isn't facing any charges right now.
Wow, so he did
get fired. He did lose his job.
Interesting.
So,
thanks for the question, Ben, because everybody should be held to the same standard no matter what your profession is. I was going to go in a totally different direction with that. Like, with police forces being what they are, all he has to do is apply for another police job somewhere else in the country, and then he'd be able to get on because people are looking for police officers big time. All cities, all jurisdictions.
Maybe you move to another state. Yeah. Maybe you move across the country. Come out west. I hear they're pretty liberal out here. Congratulations, Jay Rohn. You're Jeff and Jeremy.
Dumbass of the day. It's Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZOZ.
Things we didn't get to in hashtag form with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Take a listen to this. This was yesterday at the... what the hell were they calling that? The hearings yesterday. For,
the congressional hearings?
Thank you, Jeff. Sorry. For Pete Hegseth. How do you say his name?
Hegseth. Just like it's spelled.
Hegseth.
Hegseth.
Hegseth. Okay. He's the guy from Fox News. He was like a weekend anchor. He's up for Secretary of Defense. He was, appointed by Trump. Now he's got to go through the hearings. He's getting drilled yesterday by different senators. One from Oklahoma stood up and said, hold on a second.
The senator from Virginia starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Ooh, damn. Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce for cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No, but it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake.
Yeah, a lot of two-faced people that sit out there and throw those stones.
Yeah.
And it's time, and I feel like that's
It's almost
where we're at
like,
now. People are going to have to start answering for their actions.
And their
it's not like we
lines
can
of
just throw these
questioning,
stones.
in their lines of questioning, it's almost like they come from a place of experience. You know? They're like, oh, I know how to get him on this because I almost got on this. You know? Yeah. It's sad. It's gross. Morally corrupt.
Let's see. He handled all that pretty well. I mean, from what I saw yesterday, he's polished, that's for sure. Okay, so we were talking about modern trends that people will regret in 10 years. We got distracted by a DJ in Sacramento who said it was rude and crass what we were doing. And then like a two-faced senator removed his comment from the thread because he was getting picked on. Which is fine because that's kind of what we kind of expect from people to just throw those stones. Face tattoos is where we were at. You were talking about Jelly Roll when this all went down.
Yeah. How about words that don't make sense, like skibbity and riz?
Just making up language. So and it's actually being recognized by Webster Merriam Dictionary too, which is really sad.
That's an institutional collapse right there. When my kids say it, I just ignore it because I know that it will no longer be a thing in like 3 years. Yeah. You know, so it's like, this has no bearing. This is not going to stick. Nothing sticks. Awesome and radical, those stick, my friend.
How about sending your DNA into random companies for, to see how much of this ethnicity you have or how much that
ethnicity
because
people that did
next
that.
Thing you know, your Uncle Harry is getting arrested for 15 different crimes he committed in college because you wanted to know what ethnicity you are. That is kind of weird, too. And, it's funny. I was watching one of these Dateline-type programs about it, and they said, literally, you have to give them permission to use, you could say you cannot sell this to the police. You can't give this to the police or any other agency or any other company. A lot of people don't check those boxes out. But it's also a good thing, right? Like some really bad people out there that have been brought to justice because of DNA testing and how far it's come that they found your 15th cousin and then narrowed it down to you. It's weird stuff.
Hashtag disaster in Los Angeles. This is a headline that was 7 o'clock last night at LA Times. After further investigating, the Los Angeles Fire Department, as they faced extraordinary warnings of life-threatening winds, top commanders decided, then this was last week when the fires broke out, top commanders decided not to assign for emergency deployment roughly 1,000 available firefighters and dozens of water-carrying engines in advance of the fire that destroyed much of Pacific Palisades. This also happened in Altadena as well. 5 officials chose not to order the firefighters to remain on duty for a second shift on Tuesday of last week as the winds were building and blowing fast.
There's a lot of false narratives, too, though. There was a story that came out of Oregon saying that their trucks were not allowed to come down because of some inspection that they didn't pass, like emissions. And that simply wasn't true. So you just kind of have to be careful. But you said this is the LA Times.
This is the LA Times, and
that's. I mean, if you can't trust the LA Times, you can't trust the LA Times. But I think you kind of do, right? I mean,
yeah. If they would have,
there's a lot to be worked out here. If
they would have ordered those firefighters to remain on duty for the circumstances, it would have doubled the personnel on hand, and it would have staffed more than 40 engines that were available to aid in battling wildfires, as opposed to just 5 that were made available.
That's kind of a big deal. I was thinking, would it really made a big difference with the winds and the enormity?
That's what I thought too. Yeah. And you're talking about 5
40 times engines.
40 engines.
40 engines
versus 5. I saw
that could have saved a life.
I want to tip the hard hat to the local people that have gone down to fight the fire. There was a news grab of one of the reporters during the fire, the wildfires that took place. And while the LA firefighters decided not to deploy a lot, the response to the disaster after the fact, in the shot, Atascadero Fire Department, their engine was pulling by right as the guy was doing the reporting. And Protect Paso actually posted that on their Facebook page. So good work to the locals that went down there.
Good grab.
Yeah, great grab.
Hashtag not cool. Christina Applegate and Jamie Lynn Sigler apparently are now confronting people that are saying that this was a good thing that happened to LA's elites.
There's not really words for it.
You know what I have words for? People who are saying that those stupid Hollywood people, like, you've got to be kidding me.
You know what makes up LA? The most diverse group of people you have ever seen in one place.
Yeah, I think that people that don't live here just feel like just celebrities are just walking around running everything. We're like a portion. We're a small portion of this city.
Yeah, I never see celebrities. I go down there. I've been down there like 3 times. No, I've never been. I don't think you and I have been down there a handful of times. I've never seen a celebrity. Yeah,
I saw those twins.
I really don't believe that people believe that, right? I mean, you must be under a rock somewhere, like backwoods, like hee haw, and then the whole thing. If you really think that's what's going on down there,
I think there are parts of this country that think that that's the truth. It's nothing but celebrities and elites, right? Which is not the case. Go there.
Well, you know why? It's because of all those damn tourism ads they ran. Come to California, and they got can't remember all the.
Jeremy, was
now,
anybody going to come if the guy living next to the railroad tracks in Fullerton, stealing stuff, stealing Amazon packages was the spokesperson?
93.3 KCOZ. It's time to play Know the Show with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
I think people really should be taking advantage of this right now. You can buy pre-sale tickets, which means you could pick better seats to see Chicago at Vina Robles Amphitheater on September the 9th. Pre-sale is tomorrow. 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. General on sale is 10 a.m. on Friday. So you get a full day jump on everybody else that's got to buy it. All you got to do is text Chicago to 805-543-3693. We want to give you a pair of tickets right now if you know the show.
Actually, remember, it's 2 pairs today.
Oh, 2 pairs. Sorry.
Double it up. This is for 2 pairs of tickets, and all you have to do is know the show. And if you know the show, then you know who Jeff wants to see seated next to each other at President Donald Trump's inauguration. All right? If you heard that, you know the show. Give us a call right now. 805-543-3693. Again, who does Jeff want to see seated next to each other at President Donald Trump's inauguration? And Oscar is the first one in this morning, Jeff. Oscar. Who does Jeff want to see sit next to each other at President Donald Trump's inauguration?
I call it MEGA. Make inaugurations great again. I'm sorry, what's that?
You want to see Elon and Mark sit next to each other?
Yeah, Elon and Mark Zuckerberg. Yep, absolutely.
I like how you're on a first name basis. That's nice. I like that.
Hey, dude,
we're all going to be buddies here pretty soon.
Right. Everybody's going to get along. I mean, hell, we just watched Jimmy Carter's funeral, and the powers that be said, you know what? Let's go ahead and put Trump and Barack next to each other. See what happened.
They were laughing. They were carrying on.
I don't
know if you guys saw some of the really funny AI videos that were put together of Kamala, like sitting down one row over, looking back at him, and her husband Doug Emhoff was sitting right below them, and it's obviously fake AI stuff, but it was really funny. It was comedy. It was stuff that we should be able to laugh at. No, to take everything so serious. So, hey, Oscar, thanks for listening, my friend. We got 2 tickets for you. 4. 2 pairs, 4 tickets to go see Chicago coming up on the 9th at Vina Robles Amphitheater. Okay.
Sweet, thank you.
Have a blast.
Hey, you bet.
He's the first person to score 4 tickets because you can't buy them.
Yes, he is. We didn't get a winner yesterday, and we did go back right after the show. Jeff had to run off to a meeting, and I went back and I found the tape and I played a little bit of it, and it was definitely 20-24.
Oh yes. By the way, earlier you'd asked me about the weather in Detroit, and I did find Todd Bowles from last year. This is last year when the Tampa Bay.
What's the name of the stadium? What's the name of the stadium?
At Ford Field.
Ford Field.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reporter in Tampa Bay is asking Todd Bowles about preparation for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. taking on the Detroit Lions. God, this is great. This needs to be brought up every year in the playoffs. Just like, I mean, we've done it.
It does, because then I would remember that Detroit plays
Yeah.
inside. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, just like when Jim Mora's.
But I do remember
playoffs. Playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
This needs to be brought up every year.
Forward towards Detroit. The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams. Today, it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we tend to drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome. No, nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds, getting off the bus, going under the thing, so we'll be okay.
Did they show her face? Did they show her dumb face?
They don't. And it's probably she's probably very thankful that they didn't, because that had to be her first day on the job.
The worst day of her career. I hope it doesn't get worse than that. Anyways, fun times. All right, tomorrow we'll be. Gosh, I can't believe today's Wednesday already. Tomorrow on the program, Farmers Market. We got our buddy Reagan coming in. She'll break down what's happening. We'll do that before 7 o'clock. What else do we have going on tomorrow, Jeff? No football picks. We do that Friday because the games are all this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Red Zone Challenge. Remember, $1,000, 50-inch TV, surround sound bar, all up for grabs. Make sure you get your picks in. Every game is triple the points. So every game counts.
Yeah, these are important. These are way more important games than your regular season variety games, especially if you're in the standings to win one of those grand prizes like the TV or the $1,000 or the sound bar and the stuff from Be Right There Heating and Air, the Ecobee thermostat. These are important games. Don't lapse.
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.